soul lives, I will not do this thing. A lot of integrity. He says, Joab, my boss, out in the field, the ark of the Lord is in the tent. The servants are in the tent, and I'm going to go home and be in comfort with my wife. So I can't do that. I'm a warrior. I can't really relax with my wife until the war is over. And David said to Uriah, tarry here today also, stay today. If you start doing wrong, you got to keep recouping. Go to plan B. That's plan A, it didn't work. So he goes to plan B. Tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let they depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and tomorrow. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him. And he made him drunk. It started with Jerry Springer show. Guys get drunk for some reason, Jimmy. And even he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his Lord, but went not down to his house. He's going to get you right in the mood. You go home now, okay? That's my, I messed up last time because I didn't get him drunk. He had his own sanity, so he knew what to do. So this time I'm going to get him drunk, and he'll be a little more careless this time, okay? Hopefully. Didn't work. What did he do? But went not down to his house. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. Nothing like carrying your own death letter. He wrote a letter to Joab regarding Uriah's life, and the letter basically said, put Uriah in the front line of the hottest battle. He just told Joab, just kill him. Shoot him accidentally with an arrow. Then gave a letter to Uriah, once again, which on the other side of David is not too favorable. He should at least have the decency to send the letter by somebody else. He had messengers. He gave it to Uriah to give to Joab. And he wrote in the letter saying, set Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and leave him, that he may be smitten and die. Someone else wants to see it, huh? And it came to pass when Joab observed the city that he assigned Uriah to a place where he knew that valiant men were. He put him in the hottest battle, fighting the toughest warriors of the enemy. And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab, and there fell some of the people of the servants of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also. When they're making plans that involve God some kind of way, God can change them real quick. All right, so it's supposed God to let Uriah dead and survive the battle and become a hero in the battle. You know? Thank God that God doesn't do the worst to us in our plans to deceive, defraud, and have you. Then Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war, and charged the messenger. Joab no fool leader. He's a captain, wise man, and charged the messenger saying, when thou hast made an end of telling the matters of the war to the king, and if so be that the king's wrath arise, because they lost the battle. They should have won the battle. So he gets ready to tell the king about the battle, and the king is mad, and he said to him, wherefore approach ye so nigh to the city when you did fight? The best way to get somebody killed is get close to the city, to where their archers are. He's going to read a story here that right in the next verse. Know ye not that they would shoot from the wall? Who smote Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal? Did not a woman cast a piece of a millstone upon him from the wall? You can say, just don't operate war that way. They don't get close to the city. You fight it from a distance. Preferably you make them come out and meet you. That's why one of the most common methods of fighting a battle that day was to burn the city. Set the city on fire, and the gates on fire, and the wall on fire, then they have to come out. You probably got a good look at warfare that day from the movie Braveheart. Gives you a classic look at how battles were fought. Who smote Abimelech, the son of Jerubasheth? Did not a woman cast a piece of a millstone upon him from the wall, that he died in Thebes? Why wouldn't ye nigh the wall? So the king's man asked all these questions, then say to him, thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. Dead in the king's wrath. And David, being a true warrior, really was man. He's trying to figure out, why'd you guys fight the battle that way? Like Joab knew better. But Joab had orders. What was his orders? Get Uriah killed. So the best way to get Uriah killed is to go to the city, approach the city, and take a chance when the archers or somebody, the chances of dying are better if you fight in their city. And that's what Joab did, but Joab wasn't there. Because he told Joab in a letter to leave him by himself. So the messenger went and came and showed David all that Joab had sent him for. And the messenger said unto David, surely the men prevailed against us, and came out unto us into the field, and we were upon them, even to the entering of the gate. And the shooters shot from off the wall upon thy servants, and some of the king's servants be dead, and thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. Then David said unto the messenger, thus shalt thou say unto Joab, let not this thing displease thee, don't worry about it. For the sword devours one as well as another. He's trying to comfort Joab regarding the death of Uriah. Uriah's a mighty warrior. And David said, don't be too upset because the sword falls upon anybody in the battle, right? Devours one as well as the other. Make thy battle more strong against the city and overthrow it, and encourage thou him. Go and encourage Joab. Let him know not to make him feel too bad about it. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah's husband was dead, she mourned for her husband. And when the mourning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife, and bare him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord. And that's what it meant. All sin is displeasing God. And sometimes we look at how we go about it. In David's case, David didn't feel like he was really a murderer because he didn't really kill him. But he may as well have, because he put the machinery in place to get him killed. So David basically was a murderer, And in committing the sin, he does like so many of us do. We think that God's not aware of the details. We think God can't see in the dark. Or God has taken a momentary lapse. An absentee is from our heart. Like God couldn't see our heart for real. And we'd be very wise to realize whatever we do, that God is there. In our case, he's in us. He has a front row seat. As aware of the situation at the time he first looked at her. God saw the whole thing. But sometimes God does things play out in our life. Not to say, I got you, but to save us. And God let it play out, including the death of Uriah. God allowed it to go that way. You know what I'm saying? God could have stopped it. They could have won the war. God could have made this thing a real mess. But nobody can handle something better than God. In this case, he stepped in and handled it the way it should be handled. The plot thickens. And the Lord sent Nathan He's a prophet unto David. And he came unto him and said unto him, this is when you don't want to be a prophet or a messenger. God told the prophet, go talk to King David. I want you to tell him a story. There were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nourished up. And they grew up together with him and with his children. The picture story was like Uriah and Bathsheba met as children. They had been boyfriend and girlfriend for a long time. And she was his whole life. That was all he had. And with his children, he did eat of his own meat and drink of his own cup, and lay in his bosom, and was unto him as a daughter. This is a lamb he had. This lamb drank out of his drinking cup. This lamb lay in bed with him. Only one he had. And there came a traveler to the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was to come unto him. But he took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him. And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man. And he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, the man that hath done this thing shall surely die. He's a king. He told Nathan, basically saying, this man's dead. Go around. All you need now is a name. Who did this? And David had him killed. God says, nobody's better at setting you up than God is either. Sometimes God is preaching to us, and the message is like going away. I can't quite understand where he's going, so this is a setup. He's setting us up on this one. He's done to us so many times, and God, he's the most brilliant setup man I know. He gets to see the message by going a certain route with it, and all of a sudden, boom! Anybody experience that? All of you have, huh? When God brings a left hook, it comes up a little bit before the wire. You ever see it coming until it comes to the wall? All of a sudden you can't move, it just look like it did. Boom. Gotcha. You did to David. David got angry. Hear the story. He was angry. This man should what? Said, the man that done this thing should surely die. This is where we're now. He had no idea he just signed his own death warrant. And he should restore the lamb fourfold because he did this thing and because he had no pity. And Nathan said unto David, thou art the man. That changed over there? You're the man I'm talking about here. That's the kind of words we call debilitating. It takes up the wind out of all your strength. And David was standing ranking first. I'm sure when he said that, David just kind of slumped down in his chair. Busted. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul, and I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wife into thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would more have given unto thee such thing. God said, look what I gave you. And if that had been enough, so I didn't give you this, that, so on and so forth. Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight? What's it saying? God sees all the evil we do. And nothing's hidden from him. And if we think about that before we do evil sometimes, it might act as a deterrent. It's okay, Lord, I'm not going to So I'm just going to go back home. Let this go. Thou hast killed Uriah, the Hittite with the sword. God's straight talking. He said, well, Uriah got killed. So you killed Uriah with the sword, and has taken his wife to be thy wife, and has slain with the sword of the children of Ammon, Not just to kill him, but let the children of Ammon kill him. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house. What a penalty. What a judgment. So there's going to be a sword in your house forever. And God's really been true. The sword has never departed from David's house to this day. The house of David, as I told you before. Well, God said that you'll always have somebody sitting in the throne. And something to say about it, about that monarchy over in England, that's the house of David. Queen Elizabeth is David's great something. Right? But it's David's house. God said his word is I'm going to overturn, and overturn. Meaning what? I'm going to move it 3 times. I'm going to move your house from Jerusalem to Ireland, from Ireland to Scotland, from Scotland to England. It would be fitting that if that is God's throne, or David's throne, that the woman sitting upon that throne should be somebody great in the world, and she is. She's the richest woman in the world. I'll go beyond that. She's the richest person in the world. The Queen of England. And every so often, Parliament has talked about abolishing the monarchy because it's cost too much money, so on and so forth. And every time they get serious about it, it falls apart. Because God says, this throne's going to be here until I come. I'm going to take that throne and move it. And I told you a story before about on the coronation chair, when they crown a new king. They bring this stone out, called the Stone of Scone. It's a great big wedge of rock with a ring in it, and it's smooth, as if it's been polished. That stone made its way to the Bible, to the scriptures. On 2 occasions, when Jacob ran from Esau, said he found a bed, a rock for a pillow. And then he woke up and he had a dream about the ladder going to heaven. And angels going up and down the ladder. So when David woke up, Jacob woke up, he woke up in a sweat. In a panic, he said, surely the Lord's in this place, and I didn't know it. I didn't know it. The place is called Luz when he got there. He changed the name from Luz to Bethel. Bethel means the house of the Lord. Okay? But legend has it, when he left that place, he took that rock with him. Later on, the children of Israel, when they went to Egypt, the rock made his way to Egypt. When they came out of Egypt, the rock was drunk out of Egypt. It's called Jacob's rock at that point. You read about it in Corinthians, it says, and that rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. That's the same rock. And whenever they crown a king, they put this stone on the coronation chair, and there's no crowning of a king unless it's crowned over that rock, right? Which says that rock is Christ. That's his kingdom. That's his monarchy. And it's the oldest monarchy in the world, and God made a promise to David. He said, as long as there's a sun in the sky and a moon at night, as long as there's stars in the sky, he said, you're going to never want somebody to sit on your throne. There'll be somebody sitting on the throne of David, said, until Shiloh comes. And Shiloh's the name for Jesus. That name means peace. He has to come here. When he comes back, though, he'll start his reign in England on that throne and move it back to Jerusalem. That was just something to get in school. That was free. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from mine house, because of that despite. And by the way, that story that is told, that's the first thing I heard. I've been saved at this point when I first heard this. I've been saved about 30 years. That's the first thing I ever heard that made God become real to me. All of a sudden, it was not just a God of the Bible. All of a sudden, God became alive, He became real, and the Bible for me became real and alive that day. Second thing that strengthened me as far as God's word is concerned, when it talks in Isaiah about the Great Pyramid. And it reads like a riddle, like God can do sometimes. So I said, that Great Pyramid was not built by Cheops or the Egyptians. It's God's building. He said in the last day, You're being a pillar. You go